Today's voiceover talent is more than just a pretty voice. Today's voiceover talent has to be a boss, a VO boss. Set yourself up with business owner strategies and success with your host, Ganguzza, along with some of the strongest voices in our industry. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss.
Welcome, everybody, to the VO Boss podcast. I am your host, Ganguzza, along with my lovely co-host, Gabby Nistico. Hey, girl.
Yo.
Gabby, today, let's talk about, because there's a ton of them coming up, let's talk about conferences, voiceover conferences in our industry.
Right on.
How can we prepare for them? What are they about? Are they worth it? Are they not worth it? All sorts of things we can talk about with conferences.
Yes. Things you should bring, things you should do.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like conference season right now because it's October, and
Dude,
I think I can count.
No, it's always conference season in this industry now.
Guess you're
Remember?
right.
I mean, come on. We started off where our industry had one conference. One.
Yes, and you and I both know that conference, and we met at that
that's
conference.
how we met. Yeah, we met at Voices. I think you and I met either 2008 or 2010, one or the other.
It was 2010.
Okay.
That was my first conference. 2010 was my first conference ever.
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was James Allberger and Penny Abshire.
Penny Abshire.
Who, you know what? Kudos to them for, coming up with the event and really taking something that really needed to be there was definite need in the industry for an event that could bring people together physically, because as we know, it's so isolating being a voiceover artist these days. And they had the initiative and fortitude to create an event that brought us all together. And you know what? I give props to them for that.
Love it. It's still one of my fondest and most favorite events in our industry, because it was such the camaraderie and they made it fun. It really was. It was fun. It was well organized. It was beautifully planned. It was always at a great location. So yeah. And
they had it every 2 years, starting, I believe the first one was in 2008, if I'm not mistaken.
06.
Oh, okay. 6, 08, 10, 12, and 14. So, you know what? They had it for many years. And along the way, I will have to say, because they were the pioneers in the industry, other people followed suit afterwards. And now, while I have to say that they retired the voice conference, I think, last year, there's not going to be any more. But Gabby, I will never forget, because we met. We met, and so that's the coolest thing, is that I got to actually meet you in person, and we've developed such a wonderful relationship, obviously.
I would say that actually most of my closest voiceover friends, you, Susan Bernard, Rebecca Davis, my gosh, I'm trying to think of some of the guys, Doug Turkel, who I respect tremendously. These were all folks that I met for the first time face to face at a conference. And so I love that. To me, is one of the greatest benefits and greatest aspects of the voiceover conferences as a whole.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they will change your life. They will change your life because of the people that are there. And I think first and foremost, the fact is that, will a conference change your life because you got some educational benefit from it, or you had a really good class? You know what? I'm going to say maybe, but
it can.
I think it can. But I think first and foremost, it's the relationships that you form when you meet up with like-minded people. And as we've discussed over and over and over again, what a wonderful community this is. It's even better in person, really. I cannot recommend enough that if you are, if never been to a conference, that you go to experience that.
Real quick, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, because God knows we could, but just going through a brief list of some of the conferences that are available right now. So VO Atlanta, which is a pretty big one. FAFCon, which is slowly coming to a close. It only has maybe one or two more left in its run, or that's the rumor anyway. There's Voxy Summit, which is coming up in January, that both you and I will be at. And there is
That's voiceover.
That's voiceover, and the Mid-Atlantic voiceover conference.
Mid-Atlantic.
Am I missing anybody?
VO Mastery as well is now
VO Mastery. Yeah. Okay. So there's a bunch,
that's a lot.
and the thing you have to realize about them, guys, is they vary in size, in price, in duration. So there's a lot of factors to take into consideration.
Right.
especially if you're budgeting and trying to figure out where to go and when to go and what to do.
Oh, WoVO is another one. The World
Oh,
Voices.
yeah, WoVO.
Yep.
Yeah,
WoVO, of
WoVOCon.
course, yeah. So, gosh, which one, Gabby? And how do you pick? And, especially I know a lot of people, it's we're in a tough industry, so our budgets can be tight. And so how do you determine what's best for you?
I think you have to really, first and foremost, think about what you want to get out of going to a conference. It's having a game plan. Is your goal to meet people, and is it to make connections in the industry and also outside of the industry, meaning clients, agents, potential buyers, that sort of thing?
Right.
Or is it education? Because that distinction right there is going to help you to eliminate quite a few candidates and figure out, narrow it down, basically.
Because I think that there are some that are truly dedicated to, straight education.
Yes.
Well, actually, most of them offer some form of education. We should say that. Others will offer the addition of, possible networking contacts, casting directors, agents. So I think that is a big factor. Also, the length and where, because a lot of times it's like, oh no, I've got to pay for the airfare. I've got to pay for the hotel, and then, of course, food and all that good stuff.
I mean, for as much as I loved the Voice Conference, and again, it will always have that special place in my heart, man, every 2 years when that sucker came around, me and my whole staff would groan, because between airfare, hotel, accommodation, ground money, I mean, we spent a fortune. That was as a presenter, which means I didn't have to pay for my ticket.
Right, exactly.
So, and it was still a ton of money. So, those are things that you have to think about. You can't just budget the price of the conference. You have to budget the whole event.
The whole enchilada.
Indeed. And LA, the Voice Conference was done in Beverly Hills for many years, and oh man,
Expensive.
it was, and it was beautiful, and it was such a cool place for it to be, but boy, did it put a dent in people's wallets.
Sure.
So,
And
some
location.
locations
Getting
are going
there,
to be
too.
cheaper than others. Yeah, flights, all of that.
Me actually getting to Atlanta, it's a connecting flight for me. So it's an all-day affair coming from the West Coast going to the East Coast. Same thing is going to be probably when I go to the Voxy with you in 2018. So if I want to arrive to the conference, and especially if I'm presenting, I need to be able to be rested. I
You
can't
need to be fresh.
I need to be fresh.
know.
I can't be flying in at 6 a.m. in the morning and then presenting at 10. So I've got to, I have to plan on an additional night. Gabby, a lot of people, there are tons and tons of Facebook groups that talk about the different conferences and, which one is the best. And so that's always the age-old question, which one is the best?
Yeah.
And I don't think Gabby and I are going to sit here and debate about which is the best. It really is, what is it that you want to get out of it? I think in any situation, any learning situation, your mindset going into it is super important. The fact is that you have to be willing to have a plan. Have a plan of what it is have a plan and an idea of what it is that you want to get out of it, and then execute that plan while you're there at the conference. And so some people,
But also be flexible, because plans do change, especially at conferences.
Sure.
Things can get derailed, but sometimes it's essential. So you have to have a little bit of go with the flow kind of wiggle room. You don't want to be that person that, plans some overseas, 7-day excursion that has every single hour of the clock scheduled and allotted to do something. Give yourself some free time.
Keep in mind that there is the conference educational part, and then there's always the people part, and the and the nightlife kind of that part of the conference, where sometimes if you're not careful, those evening activities can end up into the wee hours of the morning and then impact your following day. So be careful and understand that, it's a small community that's there for a few days. And so if you're going to be going out causing a ruckus, just be aware that it's a small community and it may be obvious.
Yeah. Let's see. I have heard the horror stories. I've been involved in a few of those horror stories. There was a small event where I almost got forcibly removed from a hotel, but we won't talk about that today.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one. That was a fun one.
I had a little bit of a party with Miss Susan Bernard that ran awry. But
we remember that party.
That party was fabulous. But
and
anyway.
you know what? It turned, you know what? It's so hard to have, we're voice artists and we love to talk. And so when you're at an event at night and we all are trying to talk over each other, we don't even have to be like consuming alcohol to be loud. And that usually is what gets us into trouble.
But we're also a group of people that are so isolated that we're so happy to be with people. We're so happy. Yeah.
We can't stop talking.
We're a little bit obnoxious. I mean, a lot obnoxious.
We're so obnoxious to other people in the hotel, yes. So be aware of that.
So let's talk about survival guide. So let's do the VO B.O.S.S survival guide to conferences. I'm going to give you my top must-have, must-do lists, okay, or list.
Okay.
So item number 1, look at the presenters, look at the speakers, look at the people that are going to be the main part of the event, and make an educated decision about how much money it would cost you to work with all of those individuals, to get training from all of them individually. And that's one of the things that's going to help you to determine if that conference really has the value that you're looking for, because they're giving you an opportunity to be in close proximity and in a classroom, basically, with those folks at a very reduced rate.
Excellent point.
Second thing, for the love of God, people, make a decent business card. I cannot tell you.
And make enough of them.
Right. I cannot tell you the amount of conferences, the number of these events we go to where people don't have a basic business card. Come on.
If you're one of those people that are struggling with, oh my God, my logo and my brand and that sort of thing, please just stop already and create something so that you can hand it out at the conference.
Call me.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what you need to do. You need to get me on the phone and we'll fix that.
The worst case scenario is like, well, I didn't have my logo done, so I really, you know what? You need to make something, even if it's a white business card with your name, phone number, and email address, and that's it. You know what I mean? You need to have that handy at the ready, and you need to have enough.
Number 3, plan accordingly so that, especially if it's a multiple day event, you are not trying to be dressed to the nines and probably remarkably uncomfortable the entire time. We see this a lot at these conferences. Folks who pack their best clothes, their finest shoes, they're trying to be completely on point each and every day of the show. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be uncomfortable. Your feet are going to be killing you. You've got to have some sloppy downtime, because here's the reality, guys. We're a sloppy industry that works from home. So that's your norm. That's kind of what you're used to. So if you think you're going to go from that to wearing, a suit and tie for 4 days straight, you're very mistaken. So make sure you pack, things that are going to be comfortable and give you some comfort, some breathing room. And then I would say, this is my last item, and I think it's a really important one. Don't be afraid to leave the campus. I see this all the time with the really big events where people get very leery of leaving the conference to go to a satellite event or an off-site thing because they feel like they're going to miss something critical at the conference.
FOMO.
That off-site item is probably going to be 1,000 times more valuable and more career altering than the thing going on in the room. Trust me.
I like that point. Excellent point. All right, Gabby, how about mine?
Go for it.
I'm winging this here. So,
I'm excited.
The first and foremost thing I am going to say that is important, please make a schedule. There is a schedule that most events, most conferences will have a schedule of speakers and things that are happening. There might be multiple events happening at the same time. You're going to try to figure out what you're doing on the day that you're doing it, because really, then you're going to probably not take advantage of the best of the conference for you.
Of course.
So whatever is good for you, find the schedule. Usually there's something online. But before you get to the conference, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to get to the conference and you're going to see all your friends and you're just going to be like completely like squirrel about, your schedule after the fact. So before you go or on the plane, take a half an hour and make yourself a schedule so that you can get the utmost out of the conference that you're going to. And
Very
if you're
smart.
Yeah, and if you're going to miss things that you want to attend, because sometimes there'll be conflicting, or maybe not conflicting events, but two events that you want to go to that happen at the same time, you can always maybe partner up with somebody and have one of you go to one thing and the other go to the other, and take notes, record if you can on your phone, whatever it is, important things, and then exchange that at a later date. Or there might be an offering that you can download material or content after that. Or you can meet up with the presenter, afterwards. So if if somebody has a session that you wanted to attend, but you just couldn't because you had another one, make a point. This is going to be my number 2. Make a point to go and meet the people that you are there that can help you with your education and help you with your career. So if somebody's speaking and you always wanted to do that genre of voiceover and always learn, but yet you couldn't get to the session for whatever reason, make a point to seek them out, have a business card, shake their hand, introduce yourself, and just talk to them. See if you can spend a little bit of time with them, because that's going to be, don't be shy. The conference is not the place to be shy. And there's my third point. And I don't think there's too many of us that are shy, but I know that some people will actually be afraid to come up and say hi, or there might be a line of people waiting to speak to somebody. Don't take advantage of every opportunity that you have to make the contacts that you're going to make. And I'm going to say that it's not the be-all, end-all if you don't make the contact, but because you might be able to hook up afterwards. Like, Gabby, I loved your idea to find out what it would take to coach with these people one-on-one. There's always that option. I don't think I know anybody that is going to turn that down, if you're interested in getting to know them and find out more. But definitely have that schedule. Don't be shy. Seek out people that you want to meet and go up there. Make sure you have your business cards. And I'm going to warn you again, like I did in the beginning of this, be careful when you go out at night. Just be careful and understand that it's a small community. And there are, I talk a lot about your online reputation and social media. This is also going to affect you at a conference, and it doesn't even have to be a voiceover conference. I mean, I was in the corporate world, and you had to be careful when we went out afterwards after work, because people talk.
I tell people a lot when it comes to the conferences, you're going to find the movers and the shakers and the people with the most to offer at the bar.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, so
go
true.
Meet them.
So true. Yeah.
Go meet them. But refrain from drinking yourself.
Well, yeah, you don't have to drink your face off.
No,
I mean,
I almost never drink at the voiceover conferences.
Me either,
almost
Gabby.
Never.
I don't either.
Because of just that reason.
Yeah.
I don't want to get myself into a situation I can't easily get out of.
For sure.
Because in my case, it'll be my mouth that lands me there. So, and the other thing, and this goes to what you were saying, Anne, about people being shy in this industry. We kind of are, though. We're introverts. A lot of us are introverts in this business.
Introverted extroverts.
Yeah.
There's a term for it.
Please know that you're not alone. And so many of us are like that. So sometimes it really is nice to find the quieter groups, the smaller groups, and just sit down and talk with people. One of the easiest ways that we've all managed to break this ice at most of the conferences is to sit down and eat together.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you're going to find when you go to a conference anybody that's going to shut you out. If you want to, hang out with somebody, there's nothing wrong with asking them.
My husband, who, a lot of people know, he comes with me to a lot of the conferences. He's come to a point where he's made so many voice actor friends. They're like family to him, too.
Exactly.
And I will never forget one of the VO Atlantas. My husband sneaks outside for a cigarette. He was a smoker at the time. And he comes back in and he goes, "Hey, do you know a guy named Pat Fraley?" And it was hysterical. He had like a 20 or 30-minute conversation with Pat. I barely knew Pat at the time. And what was really amusing was that the whole rest of the conference, every time Pat saw my husband, he'd go, James, how's it going, man? How you doing? And they were like old buddies. And other voice actors were then coming up to my husband and saying, hey, can you introduce me to Pat Fraley?
That's fantastic.
But that's how awesome everybody in this business is.
Don't be afraid to go up and extend your hand out and meet somebody that you've always wanted to meet. I've never had anybody, push me away ever. I'm going to give you one last point, and I'm going to agree about the shoes. Because Gabby, I'm known to dress up, and in my younger years I would have heels, and I always carry a pair of flats in my purse. So always carry a pair of flats in your purse. I think that's kind of a cool thing to do. So and if you're sick, then it's probably not a good idea to hang out with a bunch of people while you're sick, because you'll be known as the typhoid Mary of the conference. Yeah, there is a thing called conference crud. We've all caught it. We've all been around it. We all get it.
FAFCon was here in Charlotte last week. I had probably about 20 to 25 different people I was supposed to meet with, including Kevin from IPDTL. I had to bow out gracefully because I was way too sick, and I was like, guys, I'm not going to be the one to bring the plague upon you. So,
that was so considerate.
What you got to do. That's what you got to do. Speaking of IPDTL, our fabulous sponsor, bringing us another amazing episode. Just go to IPDTL.com. You can find out more about their awesome technology. And of course, speaking of conferences, we will see all of you at Voxy Summit in January. We're very excited about that. Ann and I are going to be keynoting and a doing and a speaking and supplying the boss manicures.
We'll be lady boss negotiating, guys. So get ready. Gabby and I are coming to town.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm already in town, but you guys are coming here, so yay. Thanks for listening, guys.
You guys have a kick butt week. Stay focused and rock your business like a boss.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, Stitcher and iTunes.
And you can visit us on VOBoss.com for our exclusive content and offers. And don't forget to check us out, the VO Boss University. We got lots of great things coming, which we'll be talking about soon.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your hosts, Ann Ganguzza and Gabby Nisterko. All rights reserved. Ann Ganguzza voice talent in association with 3 Moon Media. Redistribution with permission. Coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.